Hey everybody, welcome. Partaya pratibodhitam bhagavata narayanena swayam vyasena gratitam purana munina madhye mahabharatam advaitamrata varshinim bhagavatim ashtadashaadhyayinim Ambatvamanusantatami Bhagavad-gite Bhavadveshinim Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullaravindayatapatra Netre Yena Tvaya Bharatate Purnaha Prajwalita Jnanamaya Pradipaha Prapanna Parijataya Totra Vetraikapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamrataduhe Namaha Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Parto Vatsasudhir Bhokta Dugdang Gitamratam Mahata Okay, so on Tuesday night we finished 19 and now we're up to 20. Na prahishyet priyam prapya no dvijet prapya cha priyam stira buddhir samurdhaha brahma vid brahmani stitaha. Okay, so one who knows Brahman should have a steady mind, should never be confused, and should always be focused on always focused in Brahman. The person should not be overwhelmed when obtaining what is dear, nor become disturbed when obtaining that which is unpleasant. So, priyam, that which is dear, and prapya priyam, obtaining that which is dear, and then prapya apriyam, obtaining that which is not dear. So that which is makes one happy and that one which makes one unhappy, neither of those should disturb or confuse the mind of the one who is focused in this Brahman. Okay. Na prashyet priyam. Na prashyet. Sorry, let's do. Na prashyet. Na prashyet. Na prashyet. Priyam prapya. Priyam prapya. Priyam prapya. No dvijet. No dvijet. No dvijet. Prapya cha priyam. Prapya cha priyam. Prapya cha priyam. Sthirabuddhihi, 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 Asamurdhaha, 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 Brahmavit, 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 Brahmanistitaha, Brahmanistitaha, Brahmanistitaha. Okay, so naprahrishyet. Prahrishyet is how to pronounce that. That's a vowel. When we split this samurdhaha, then samurdha becomes samurdhaha. Sthirabuddhihi, the ra comes between buddhihi and asamurdhaha, so that replaces visarga. So when we split, they'll have visarga there. And then this other one, Brahmavit, is the word, knowledge of Brahman. Brahmavit becomes Brahmavid when you join Brahmavid Brahmani. But when you split, it's Brahmavit. That's the word. If you want to split all these words, na prashyet priyam prapya na udvijet prapya cha apriyam. Sthirabuddhihi, it's a compound. Samurdhaha brahmavit brahmani stitaha. Okay, once more like that. Na prashyet, sorry, na prashyet, na prashyet, na prashyet priyam prapya, priyam prapya, priyam prapya, no dvijet, no dvijet, no dvijet, prapya cha priyam, prapya cha priyam, prapya cha priyam, sthirabuddhihi, 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 asamurdhaha, 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 brahmavit, 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 brahmanistitaha, brahmanistitaha, brahmanistitaha. Okay, now half lines. Na prahrishyet priyam prapya, na prahrishyet priyam prapya, na prahrishyet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, sthirabuddhirasamurdhaha, 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 brahmavid brahmanistitaha, brahmavid brahmanistitaha, brahmavid brahmanistitaha. Now full lines. Na prahrishyet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, na prahrishyet, na prahrishyet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, na prahrishyet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam. Sthirabuddhirasamurdhaha, brahmavid brahmanistitaha, sthirabuddhirasamurdhaha, Brahmavid Brahmani Sthitaha Sthira Buddhira Sammurtaha Brahmavid Brahmani Sthitaha. Full shloka now. Only change will be in the middle of the second line when we include that sandhi samurdha brahmavit, like that. First we'll do with the reading in the middle of the line. Na prahrshyet priyam prapya no dvijet prapya cha priyam stira buddhira sammurdhaha brahmavid brahmani sthitaha. Na prahrshyet priyam prapya no dvijet prapya cha priyam stira buddhira sammurdhaha brahmavid brahmani sthitaha. Now with the sandhi. Na prahrshyet priyam prapya no dvijet prapya cha priyam stira buddhira sammurdha brahmavid brahmani sthitaha. So very important, that one who knows Brahman, the word should means that this is what will happen for the one that knows Brahman. Steady mind, will never be confused, always focused in Brahman, and will never be overwhelmed when obtaining either that which is, if they win $1 million or if they lose $1 million, neither will bother them. Of course, they're probably not playing a lotto at that state, in that state. Bahyasparsheshvasaktatma Vindatyatmani yat sukham sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukhamakshayamashnute. Okay, so one whose mind is uninterested in contact with external objects finds happiness within the self. Connected to Brahman, there is the experience of sukham which never diminishes. Next shloka will address this in more detail, but basically he will not find any happiness in external objects. He'll engage with external objects, but there'll be no happiness or sadness, joy or sorrow regarding those objects. He finds only happiness within the self, and always because of that, there's that the self is permanent. That sense of sukham is also permanent; it never diminishes. So akshayam, so ashnute, that akshayam means sukham. Akshayam is akshayam is indestructible, and ashnute actually means he enjoys or he eats, he experiences that sukham, indestructible, or that which never diminishes also. And bahyasparsheshu, so in those external objects, sparsha means to touch, so whatever that touch of those external objects is his self is unattached. Asaktatma. Okay. So when we split this, bahyasparsheshu asaktatma. So between that u and that a va comes when you join. So we're going to split, but when we join, the va will come back. So it's bahyasparsheshu asaktatma. Okay. Bahyasparsheshu 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 asaktatma 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 vindatyatmani Vindatyatmani, 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 Yat Sukham, Yat Sukham, Yat Sukham, Sabrahma Yoga, Sabrahma Yoga, Sabrahma Yoga, Yuktatma, 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 Sukhamakshayam, 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 Ashnute, Ashnute, Ashnute. Okay, once more. Bahyasparsheshu, 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 Asaktatma, 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 Vindatyatmani, 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 Yat Sukham, Yat Sukham, Yat Sukham, Sabrahma Yoga, Sabrahma Yoga, Sabrahma Yoga, Yuktatma, 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 Sukhamakshayam, 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 Ashnute, Ashnute, Ashnute. Okay, now half lines. So that va will come in the middle of that first half of the first line. Bahyasparsheshvasaktatma, 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 Vindatyatmani yat sukham, Vindatyatmani yat sukham, Vindatyatmani yat sukham, Sabrahma yoga yuktatma, Sabrahma yoga yuktatma, Sabrahma yoga yuktatma, Sukhamakshayam Sukhamakshayam Sukhamakshayam. Okay, so now full lines. Bahyasparshesh vasaktatma, Vindatyatmani yat sukham. Bahyasparshesh vasaktatma, Vindatyatmani yat sukham. Bahyasparshesh vasaktatma, Vindatyatmani yat sukham. Sabrahma yoga yuktatma, Sukhamakshayam. Sabrahma yoga yuktatma, Sukhamakshayam. Sabrahma yoga yuktatma, Sukhamakshayam. Now full shloka. Bahyasparsheshvasaktatma, Vindatyatmani yat sukham. Sabrahma yoga yuktatma, Sukhamakshayam. Bahyasparsheshvasaktatma, Vindatyatmani yat sukham. Sabrahma yoga yuktatma, Sukhamakshayam. Now, no change in Sandhi. I'll just chant once through without breathing in the middle of the line. Bahyasparsheshvasaktatma, Vindatyatmani yat sukham. Sabrahma yoga yuktatma, Sukhamakshayam. And one more Sandhi I should point out. Vindati atmani. So in that Atman, he finds that Sukham. that happiness. Ye hi samsparshaja bhogaha tukyayo naya evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddhaha adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddhaha. Okay, sorry about that. So these those enjoyments born from the contact with objects of pleasure are definitely the source of suffering. So samsparshaja, born from contact. And O son of Kunti, Kaunteya is that name of Arjuna. They have a beginning and an end, and in them the wise do not rejoice. So everything is constantly changing. All objects of sense are constantly changing, and so they are the source of suffering. Ultimately, even those objects which are pleasurable bring suffering, because nothing lasts forever. Either that object doesn't last, or our ability to enjoy that offering, that object doesn't last, because we become old, our situation changes, and so one may have so much money, but it may bring so much suffering. That person may be very unhappy in a particular situation. In another situation, a person may be very happy. But in some situations, people with a lot of money may not be happy. That money may only bring them more sorrow. It may never bring them any happiness, even though they strive for more and more. But in that Atman, so one thing is to be able to look on all these things with equanimity, good or bad, what would be considered suffering or happiness, and only to see them as they are, only to experience them as they are, without any kind of reaction to that. Just that's real attention. That's when the consciousness is very clear. It can simply observe without any kind of response, only to watch. Yehi samsparshaja, yehi samsparshaja, yehi samsparsha. There should be jaha. Yehi samsparshajaha, yehi samsparshajaha, yehi samsparshajaha, bhogaha, 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 dukkhayonayaha, 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 evate, 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 adyantavantaha, 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 kaunteya, 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 nateshu, 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 ramate buddhaha, ramate buddhaha, ramate buddhaha. So that word buddha is one who is intelligent, one who is wise. There were many Buddhas before the Buddha and afterwards, although this has a different spelling. That word buddha refers to someone who has realized the self through the buddhi. Okay, so you'll notice that there are many, the visarga is lost in the first line after samsparshajaha, because it's long a with visarga before bha, it gets lost. Again, it gets lost long a on bhogaha before da. And then it gets lost because visarga before this consonant a for eva also gets lost when you put them together. So that's why I'm adding them now. Everything else remains the same. Yehi samsparshajaha, yehi samsparshajaha, yehi samsparshajaha, bhogaha, 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 dukkhayonayaha, 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 evate, 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 adyantavantaha, 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 kaunteya, 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 nateshu, 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 ramate buddhaha, ramate buddhaha, ramate buddhaha. Okay, let's do again. Yes, once. No, let's do half lines. Yehi samsparshaja bhogaha, yehi samsparshaja bhogaha, yehi samsparshaja bhogaha, dukkhayo naya evate, dukkhayo naya evate, dukkhayo naya evate, adyantavantah kaunteya, adyantavantah kaunteya, adyantavantah kaunteya, nateshu ramate buddhaha, nateshu ramate buddhaha, nateshu ramate buddhaha. Just notice that visarga at the end of adyantavantaha becomes guttural, so it's pronounced in the throat before ka. Okay, now full lines. Yehi samsparshaja bhogaha, dukkhayo naya evate, yehi samsparshaja bhogaha, dukkhayo naya evate, yehi samsparshaja bhogaha, dukkhayo naya evate, adyantavantah kaunteya, nateshu ramate buddhaha, adyantavantah kaunteya, nateshu ramate buddhaha, adyantavantah kaunteya, nateshu ramate buddhaha. Okay, now full shloka. Yehi samsparshaja bhogaha, dukkhayo naya evate, adyantavantah kaunteya, nateshu ramate buddhaha, yehi samsparshaja bhogaha, dukkhayo naya evate, adyantavantah kaunteya, nateshu ramate buddhaha. Okay, now with sandhi and no breath in between. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga, dukkhayo naya evate, adyantavantah kaunteya, nateshu ramate buddhaha. Okay. Shaknoti haiva yasartham Praksharira vimokshanat Kamakrodhodbhavande dvegam Sayuktas sukhi naraha. Okay, one who is able to overcome that force of lust and anger, even here, before leaving this body, is a real yogi. Such a person is one with sukham. So you can do it here, then you're a real yogin. Very difficult. So lust and anger, kama and krodha. And that's the first two of those 6 spiritual poisons that are often mentioned: kama, krodha, lobha, moha, madha, matsarya. So this kama, this desire, anger, greed, lobha, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, delusion, madha and matsarya, pride and jealousy. All these things are considered to be 6 spiritual poisons which surround the spiritual heart. So one cannot experience that Brahman directly if these exist. So then the yogin has to have overcome these in order to have that experience, and then becomes one with sukham. So it's not about gaining anything, it's about removing something. Sukham is there, that happiness is already there, it exists within us. Such joy is there, and we get glimpses of that, but it becomes covered over. There's an avaranam, a covering, which is that those 6 spiritual poisons. Shaknoti haiva, Shaknoti haiva, Shaknoti haiva, Yasartham, 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 Praksharira, 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 Vimokshanat, 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 Kamakrodha, 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 Udbhavam Vegam, Udbhavam Vegam, Udbhavam Vegam, Sayuktaha, 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 Sasukhi Naraha, Sasukhi Naraha, Sasukhi Naraha. What is Sukhin? One who possesses that happiness. When we split Kama, Krodha, Udbhavam is born. So Udbhavam means is born from Kama and Krodha. And Vegam is very, very forcefully. That force of Kama, born of Kama and Krodha. Okay. Shaknoti iha eva yaha sodham prak sharira vimokshanat kama krodha udbhavam vegam sayuktaha sasukhi naraha. Those are the words. Shaknoti haiva, Shaknoti haiva, Shaknoti haiva, Yasartham, 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 Praksharira, 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 Vimokshanat, 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 Kamakrodha, 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 udbhavam vegam, udbhavam vegam, udbhavam vegam, sayuktaha, 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 sasukhi naraha, sasukhi naraha, sasukhi naraha. Okay, let's do half lines now. So you'll get yassodham, yaha sodham will, when we join, that visarga will be become another sa. Yassodham. Okay. Udbhavam vegam, that that nasal ma before vegam, before va becomes another va, nasal sounding va. Udbhavam vegam, udbhavam vegam. And then another time, sayuktas sasukhi naraha, double sa with this yukta in the second line, yuktaha, yuktassa. So that visarga becomes sa before sa. Shaknoti haiva yassodham, Shaknoti haiva yassodham, Praksharira vimokshanat, Praksharira vimokshanat, Praksharira vimokshanat, Kamakrodhodbhavam vegam, Kamakrodhodbhavam vegam, Kamakrodhodbhavam vegam, Sayuktasya sukhi naraha, Sayuktasya sukhi naraha, Sayuktasya sukhi naraha. Now full lines. Shaknoti haiva yassodham, Praksharira vimokshanat, Shaknoti haiva yassodham, Praksharira vimokshanat, Shaknoti haiva yassodham, Praksharira vimokshanat, Kamakrodhodbhavam vegam, Sayuktasya sukhi naraha, Kamakrodhodbhavam vegam, Sayuktasya sukhi naraha, Kamakrodhodbhavam vegam, Sayuktasya sukhi naraha. Okay, full shloka. Shaknoti haiva yassodham, Praksharira vimokshanat, Kamakrodhodbhavam vegam, Sayuktasya sukhi naraha. Shaknoti haiva yassodham, Praksharira vimokshanat, Kamakrodhodbhavam vegam, Sayuktasya sukhi naraha. Now, with Sandhi, no change. Shaknoti haiva yassodham, Praksharira vimokshanat, Kamakrodhodbhavam vegam, Sayuktasya sukhi naraha. Shaknoti haiva yassodham, Praksharira vimokshanat, Kamakrodhodbhavam vegam, Sayuktasya sukhi naraha. Okay, let's squeeze one more shloka in. Yantas sukhantararamaha, tatantarjyotirevayaha, sayogi brahma nirvanam, brahma bhuto digacchati. Whoever's happiness is within, has that garden of pleasure within, within them. Similarly, they can see the light within themselves. That yogi, having become the Brahman, obtains the bliss of Brahman. So he uses the word aramaha, and this word actually means delight or pleasure, but it also means a garden. So that kind of pleasure that comes from being in a garden, that experience of being in that, like being in that environment of being within. So it gives that sense. It's not just pleasure, it's the pleasure of experiencing something. So that word has that extended meaning. And then the word nirvanam is used here as well. Now, this word has mainly been used by Buddhists, but it's used several times. I think I pointed this out before in the Bhagavad Gita. So the meaning is actually to extinguish a lamp or the flame of life. So that extinguishment of that flame of life, when one becomes emancipated from matter and becomes again one with the Supreme Spirit. So this nirvana then by extension means the bliss of Brahman. But of course, in this Buddhist philosophy, one is not merging with anything. So that extended meaning of this word does not come in that way. But in this philosophy, then there is that merging with Brahman. So that emancipation results in merging with Brahman. That brings that bliss. Excuse me. Okay. Yantaha. 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 Actually, yantasukkaha. We should do. Yantasukkaha. 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 Antararamaha. 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 Tatanta. 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 Tatantaha. 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 Jyotirevayaha. 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 Sayogi. 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 Brahma nirvanam. Brahma nirvanam. Brahma nirvanam. Brahma bhutaha. Brahma bhutaha. Brahma bhutaha. Adhigacchati. 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 Okay, so this splitting here, you see these symbols after the O symbol, that is avagraha. There's a ta missing from jyotir, missing from jyotir. Oh, in the transliteration, sorry. I'm not looking. Jyotireva. Okay, thank you. There we go. Jyotireva. Yeah, I'm not looking at the transliteration, so I'm not noticing that. Sorry. And thank you for picking that up, because now I can correct it on the spot. It's much easier. Okay, so these symbols that look like an S, they replace an A when A is lost. So yaha antaha becomes yontaha. But we want to know what was the form without that A. It tells us there was an A there, so we know it was yaha antaha. Otherwise, it could be another combination. Okay, so again, it occurs with sukhaha antaha. So you see that there again, and then bhutaha adhigacchati on the second line, and yeah, so it happens 3 times. So when we split, you get an a at the front of the second word, and Visarga replaces the O in the first word. Okay. All right. So once more. Yantasukhaha, 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 antararamaha, 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 tatantah, tatantaha, 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 jyotirevayaha, 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 sayogi, 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 brahma nirvanam, brahma nirvanam, brahma nirvanam, brahma bhutaha, brahma bhutaha, brahma bhutaha, adhigacchati, adhigacchati, adhigacchati. Okay, now half lines. Okay. Yantasukhantararamaha, 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 tatantarjyotirevayaha, 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 sayogi brahma nirvanam, sayogi brahma nirvanam, sayogi brahma nirvanam, brahma bhutodhigacchati, brahma bhutodhigacchati, brahma bhutodhigacchati. Full lines. Yantasukhantararamaha, tatantarjyotirevayaha, yantasukhantararamaha, tatantarjyotirevayaha, yantasukhantararamaha, tatantarjyotirevayaha, sayogi brahma nirvanam, brahma bhutodhigacchati, sayogi brahma nirvanam, brahma bhutodhigacchati, sayogi brahma nirvanam, brahma bhutodhigacchati. Full shloka. Yantasukhantararamaha, tathantarjyotirevayaha, sayogi brahma nirvanam, brahma bhutodhigacchati. Yantasukhantararamaha, tathantarjyotirevayaha, sayogi brahma nirvanam, brahma bhutodhigacchati. Okay, now with sandhi and no breath. Taking a breath in the middle of that first line. Yantasukhantararamastatantarjyotirevasaha, sayogi brahma nirvanam, brahma bhutodhigacchati. Yantasukhantararamastatantarjyotirevasayaha, sayogi brahma nirvanam, brahma bhutodhigacchati. Okay, let's just do those 5 shlokas once through. From 20. Na prahrishyet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, stira buddhir samurdhaha, brahma vid brahmani stitaha, bahyasparsheshvasaktatma, vindatyatmani yat sukham, sabrahma yoga yuktatma, sukhamakshayamashnute. Nehi samsparshaja bhogaha, dukkhayo evate, adyantavantah kaunteya, न तेषु रमते बुधः शक्नोति हैव यः सोढुम् प्राक्शरीरविमोक्षणात् कामक्रोधोद्भवं वेगम् स युक्तः स सुखी नरः योऽन्तः सुखान्तरारामः तथान्तर्ज्योतिरेव यः स योगी ब्रह्मनिर्वाणम् ब्रह्मभूतोऽधिगच्छति. Okay, so beautiful chapter, this one. We'll finish this chapter, actually it's only 29, so we'll finish it on Thursday, and then we'll chant through it on Tuesday, and then we'll have Thursday off next week, and then we'll start. I think we'll just go through and revise chapter 6. I know we did that at the beginning, but it seems since we've started from chapter 1 now, it would be unfortunate not to feel that continuation by that continuity by going through chapter 6. And also there are people that haven't done chapter 6, and I'll revise that text because there was many mistakes when I created that text, so I want to revise that. So that's the plan. Thank you, everybody. May you all be feeling the sukham of that experience of direct experience of Brahman. Okay. आकाशात् पतितं तोयं यथा गच्छति सागरं सर्वदेव नमस्कारः केशवं प्रति गच्छति श्रीकेशवं प्रति गच्छति ॐ नमो नमः. Okay, thank you. New shloka tonight. For Krishna. Ram Ram, Dhanyavadaha. Thank you, everybody.